In life, we often believe that pushing harder will lead to better results, but this notion is a dangerous illusion. You might think that control is the key, managing every variable, planning every step. But what you don't realize is that this constant striving creates an invisible trap. The human mind has a peculiar tendency to resist rest. When you're tired, your body wants to sleep, but your mind often says, "No, keep going." This internal resistance is the root of much of our struggle. We push through fatigue, ignore the signs of burnout, and end up creating a cycle where effort becomes counterproductive. Imagine an athlete training for a marathon. They might think that running more miles will make them faster, but without rest, their performance declines. The body needs recovery to heal and grow stronger. Similarly, in your professional life, constant activity without reflection can lead to diminishing returns. You might feel productive, but the quality of your work diminishes, and creativity wanes. This paradox is not new. It's been observed across cultures and eras. Philosophers like Lao Tzu spoke of the importance of stillness and yielding. In his words, water flows because it finds its level. When you try to control everything, you become rigid, unable to adapt to life's inevitable changes. The hyperactive mind is a master saboteur. It tries to micromanage things beyond your influence, like trying to predict the future or control others' actions. This fixation creates unnecessary stress and blocks clarity of thought. Think of it like trying to grab water with a closed fist. The harder you squeeze, the more it slips away. In moments of crisis, extreme tension can paralyze your ability to act effectively. Your decisions become clouded, reactions slow down, and opportunities are missed. This isn't just about physical strain, it's also mental and emotional exhaustion that leads to poor outcomes. Letting go doesn't mean surrendering, it means trusting the process. Surrender here is a strategic choice, not a sign of weakness. It's about releasing control and allowing life to flow naturally. Picture a boat navigating a river. Sometimes paddling against the current only tires you out. Instead, learning to sail with the wind allows you to move effortlessly. This concept is deeply rooted in wisdom traditions, where surrender is seen as an act of faith and insight rather than defeatism. It's about acknowledging what you can't change and focusing your energy on what you can influence constructively. The pursuit of control is a mirage that keeps us running endlessly. The real power lies in understanding when to hold tight and when to loosen your grip. By embracing this balance, you'll find that true mastery isn't about force, but about flow. Letting go is not merely a philosophical concept. It is rooted in the fabric of human existence and has been a recurring theme across cultures, religions, and philosophies for centuries. The idea of surrendering control is embedded in the stories we tell, the rituals we perform, and the wisdom we pass down from generations. It's a principle that acknowledges the limits of human agency and recognizes the interplay between effort and acceptance. Historically, societies have grappled with the tension between control and surrender. In ancient civilizations like Mesopotamia and Egypt, rulers often sought to exert absolute dominion over their lands, building monuments, enforcing laws, and centralizing power. Yet even in these heights of ambition, there was an underlying awareness of the futility of complete control. The concept of Ma, the Egyptian principle of truth, balance, and harmony, reflects a recognition that order must coexist with chaos. Similarly, in ancient Greek philosophy, thinkers like Heraclitus emphasized the dynamic nature of reality, suggesting that rigid attempts to dominate life are futile. In East Asia, surrender as a strategic art was exemplified by military leaders like Sun Tzu, author of The Art of War. Sun Tzu's teachings advocate for adaptability and non-resistance, emphasizing the importance of yielding to win. This strategy is mirrored in martial arts like Aikido, where practitioners learn to redirect rather than oppose an attacker's force. The Japanese concept of toki, or timing, also highlights the need to align with the natural flow of events, rather than forcing outcomes. The wisdom traditions of yoga and Buddhism offer profound insights into the nature of control and surrender. In yoga, the path to liberation involves overcoming the illusion of separateness and embracing the interconnectedness of all existence. The practice of asana, or physical postures, is not just about forcing the body into perfect positions, but about finding balance and ease. Similarly, in Buddhist teachings, attachment to outcomes creates suffering, while letting go, through mindfulness and acceptance, liberates the mind from unnecessary burdens. The illusion of control extends beyond the individual to broader societal structures. Modern capitalism, with its emphasis on competition and consumerism, perpetuates a culture of overexertion. The myth of the self-made man reinforces the belief that success is achieved through sheer effort and determination. However, this narrative often overlooks the role of luck, timing, and external circumstances in shaping our lives. The pursuit of control becomes an endless race, where every goalpost moved creates new challenges to overcome. The psychological implications of this relentless pursuit are significant. Research in psychology has shown that people who feel a high need for control tend to experience greater stress and anxiety when they perceive a lack of influence over events. This phenomenon is known as control illusion, where individuals overestimate their ability to predict or shape outcomes. The constant striving for mastery can lead to burnout, as the brain becomes fatigued by the mental effort required to maintain this illusion. Emotional exhaustion, a state characterized by feelings of being overwhelmed and drained, is another consequence of overexertion. Studies have found that emotional exhaustion correlates with decreased job satisfaction, impaired decision-making, and even physical health issues. The mind, like any other organ, has limits to its capacity for sustained effort. When we refuse to release our grip on every outcome, we risk exhausting not just the body, but also the spirit. One lesser-known aspect of surrender is its role in fostering creativity and innovation. When we let go of rigid control, we create space for new ideas to emerge. The creative process often thrives in states of openness and receptivity rather than forced direction. This aligns with the concept of flow, described by psychologist Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi as a state of optimal engagement where time feels distorted and actions feel effortless. The paradox of control is that it often hinders our ability to achieve what we desire. By fixating on outcomes, we become less attuned to the present moment, the only place where true action can occur. This mindset can lead to missed opportunities for collaboration, learning, and growth. The act of surrendering does not mean giving up. It means releasing the mental stranglehold that prevents us from seeing possibilities beyond our immediate grasp. In contemporary society, the pressure to maintain control is amplified by technology. Social media platforms in particular create an illusion of perpetual connectivity and influence. People often feel compelled to curate their lives, presenting a carefully crafted image of success and happiness. This digital performance can be exhausting, as it requires constant effort to maintain appearances rather than embracing authenticity. The pursuit of control is also closely tied to the concept of identity. Many individuals define themselves by their achievements and ability to have it all together. When this facade falters, whether through failure, setbacks, or simply recognizing one's limits, it can lead to feelings of inadequacy. Surrendering this rigid self-definition allows for a more fluid sense of identity, where mistakes are seen as opportunities rather than failures. The practice of letting go is not about passive resignation, but active acceptance. It requires mindfulness and awareness, qualities that allow us to observe our thoughts and emotions without being consumed by them. By cultivating these skills, we can respond to life's challenges with greater clarity and calmness. This aligns with the teachings of mindfulness traditions, which emphasize the importance of staying present rather than dwelling on past regrets or future anxieties. The implications of embracing surrender are far-reaching. On a personal level, it can reduce stress, improve mental health, and enhance relationships. By releasing the need to control every aspect of life, individuals often experience greater freedom and fulfillment. On the societal level, accepting surrender as a valid strategy could lead to more sustainable approaches to conflict resolution, environmental stewardship, and economic management. One example of this is in the field of sustainability. Many environmental efforts have failed because they are rooted in a mindset of control, trying to impose solutions without considering the organic, often unpredictable nature of the ecological systems. A more surrendered approach would involve fostering collaboration with natural processes rather than attempting to dominate them. In conclusion, surrender is not a sign of weakness, but a recognition of reality, a willingness to embrace life's inherent unpredictability. It is about finding balance in our efforts and acknowledging that true mastery lies in the ability to flow with, rather than against, the current of life. By letting go, we open ourselves up to possibilities beyond our imagination, creating space for growth, creativity, and peace. There's a quiet war being waged inside each of us, a battle between what we want and the fear that tells us we don't deserve it. This chapter is about the masks we wear when our deepest fears masquerade as ambition, driving us to extremes in ways we often can't fully understand. The human mind has an extraordinary ability to justify its actions, even when they're harmful. When we're chasing success or love or validation, it's easy to think we're simply being ambitious, pushing harder because that's what society tells us will get results. But dig deeper, and you'll often find a more insidious force at play: fear. Fear of not measuring up, fear of failure, fear of being seen as less than. These fears don't just sit quietly in the corner. They demand attention, and they do so by convincing us that we need to act with desperation. This kind of thinking isn't just limiting, it's self-sabotaging. When we operate from a place of scarcity, we're not just trying to hold on to what we think is slipping away. We're repelling the very things we desire. Excessive urgency often reveals an absolute lack of trust in your own capabilities. You might be convinced that you're just being proactive, but the truth is that when you're driven by fear, your actions become distorted. You start to see opportunity as a prize to be snatched rather than a natural flow to be aligned with. This isn't just about external results. It's about how your internal state affects every relationship, every decision, and every interaction. The root of this desperation often traces back to deeper wounds, fears of inadequacy that were never addressed. These fears don't have to define you, but they will keep showing up until you learn to recognize them for what they are. The mind is clever. It creates stories to justify why you need to push harder, why you're not enough as you are. But these stories aren't serving you. They're keeping you trapped in a cycle of fear and action. The key isn't to stop feeling fear, but to understand it. Fear is natural, but it doesn't have to control your decisions. When you can differentiate between healthy ambition and fear-driven actions, you begin to see the difference between pushing forward and pushing against yourself. The best kind of success isn't about domination. It's about collaboration with life, with others, and with the natural ebb and flow of things. Letting go doesn't mean giving up. It means trusting that you are enough right now, in this moment. It's about releasing the need to force outcomes, and instead aligning yourself with the energy of allowance, knowing that when you stop fighting, space opens up for what truly wants to come into your life. So, as you move forward, remember this: ambition doesn't have to be a mask for fear. It can be a genuine expression of your desires and potential when you learn to align it with the truth of who you are. The more you can let go of the need to control every outcome, the more you'll find that what you truly want starts to flow into your life naturally. Because when you stop pushing so hard, you create the space for it to come. In the end, the greatest victory isn't about what you achieve, but how you choose to be. When you can let go of the illusion of control and embrace the natural rhythm of life, you'll discover that true success is less about what you have and more about who you become in the process. Throughout history, ambition has often been cloaked in the guise of fear, a dynamic that has shaped the actions of empires and individuals alike. Consider the rise and fall of Julius Caesar, whose fear of being overlooked or overshadowed by his rivals fueled his ambitious quest for power. His fear-driven decisions, such as crossing the Rubicon, were not mere acts of courage, but calculated moves to secure his position, even as they sowed the seeds of his eventual demise. Similarly, Napoleon Bonaparte's ambition was driven by a fear of inadequacy, and the need to prove himself on the grandest stage. His relentless pursuit of conquests masked a deeper anxiety about his legitimacy and the stability of his rule. In modern psychology, this interplay between fear and ambition is well documented. Sigmund Freud's concept of the death drive suggests that people are often compelled by unconscious fears that push them towards self-destructive behaviors, including those driven by excessive ambition. Recent studies in anxiety research have shown that chronic fear can actually impair decision-making, leading individuals to pursue goals with tunnel vision, often at the cost of their well-being or relationships. One need only look at the biographies of Silicon Valley pioneers like Steve Jobs and Elon Musk to see how this dynamic plays out. Both were driven by a desire to innovate and leave a mark on the world, yet their approaches differed in how they navigated fear. Jobs, for instance, was known for his meticulous attention to detail and willingness to let go of ideas that didn't align with his vision. His ability to trust his instincts allowed him to create products that not only succeeded, but also resonated deeply with users. In contrast, Musk's ambition has often been linked to a fear of failure, which has led to high-stakes gambles, such as the Hyperloop and Neuralink projects, ventures that, while visionary, have faced significant criticism and setbacks. The implications of misaligned ambition are profound. When fear drives our actions, it can lead us down paths of overwork, burnout, and even moral compromise. The Enron scandal is a prime example. Executives pursued aggressive strategies to meet Wall Street expectations, driven by a fear of failure and loss of status. This fear-driven approach led to unethical practices that ultimately destroyed the company and their careers. Lesser-known stories also highlight this tension. Consider the life of Agnes DeMille, the renowned choreographer who transformed American ballet. DeMille's ambition was not fueled by a desire for recognition per se, but by a deep-seated fear of being irrelevant. Yet her ability to let go of rigid structures and embrace collaboration allowed her to create works that bridged classical technique with modern themes, revolutionizing the art form. In many ways, the story of the automobile industry offers another layer of insight. Henry Ford's ambition to mass-produce affordable cars was driven in part by a fear of competition and a desire to dominate the market. His introduction of the assembly line was not just an innovation, but also a response to the pressures of scaling production quickly. However, it wasn't until later that Ford realized the importance of collaboration, when he embraced partnerships with suppliers and diversified his product lines, that his company truly thrived. The lessons here are clear. While ambition is essential for progress, its alignment with fear can be either a double-edged sword or a catalyst for transformation. To navigate this balance requires self-awareness and an understanding of one's core values. It means recognizing when ambition is a genuine expression of our desires versus when it is a mask for deeper insecurities. One of the most powerful tools in this journey is mindfulness. By cultivating awareness, we can observe our fears without judgment and discern whether they are fueling healthy ambitions or driving us towards self-sabotage. This practice allows us to align our actions with our true selves rather than external pressures. Moreover, embracing failure as a teacher rather than something to be feared can shift our perspective. When we view setbacks not as disasters, but as opportunities for growth, we reduce the pressure on ourselves to constantly succeed. This mindset fosters resilience and a more balanced approach to ambition. In conclusion, fear and ambition are intertwined, but their relationship is not inherently negative. By understanding the roots of our fears, embracing collaboration over control, and trusting the natural flow of life, we can harness ambition as a force for good, aligned with our authentic selves rather than driven by anxiety. Let's talk about effort, the kind of effort that feels more like strain than progress. You know the feeling. You try harder, but things get worse. The harder you grip, the more it slips away. This is the law of reversed effort, a principle as old as time, and it's deeply tied to how we relate to control. Imagine water flowing in a river. If you stand knee-deep and try to hold onto it with your hands, what happens? It flows right through your fingers. But if you relax, let your hands cup it gently, you can carry more of it. This is the physics of surrender. The moment you stop fighting, you start receiving. We've all been there. You fixate on a goal, pour in every ounce of willpower, and yet, things crumble. Why? Because when we over-control, we block the natural flow. It's like trying to force a plant to grow faster by yanking on its stems. The harder you pull, the more it struggles. Think about great leaders, artists, innovators, people who've created something extraordinary. How did they do it? Often by letting go of the need to control every detail, allowing their vision to evolve naturally. It's like planting a seed and stepping back, trusting the cycle of growth instead of trying to. The physics here are simple. Systems find equilibrium when left alone. When you interfere too much, you disrupt that balance. So why do we resist this? Because control feels safe, even if it doesn't work. We confuse effort with impact, thinking more force will always lead to better results. But the truth is, sometimes less effort yields more. Not because you're lazy, but because you're aligning with the natural order. Like a surfer catching a wave, effort isn't about pushing harder. It's about timing and balance, surrendering to the flow while staying present. Excessive willpower can backfire in ways we don't expect. It narrows our focus, making us miss the bigger picture. We become so fixated on one path that we ignore alternative solutions, better opportunities, whole ecosystems of possibility. So how do you apply this? Start small. Let go of trying to control every conversation, every outcome. Notice how life starts to unfold more easily when you step back. Surrender isn't weakness, it's wisdom. It's the art of trusting the process, even when it doesn't feel logical. Remember, everything you want is waiting for you on the other side of letting go, but not in the way you think. When you release the need to force results, you create space for them to emerge naturally. The harder you try, the farther away they get. So next time you feel the urge to squeeze harder, pause, take a breath, let go, and see what happens when effort becomes ease, and control gives way to flow. Deep within the fabric of time, surrender has been a recurring theme in the world's oldest wisdom traditions. From the Taoist concept of wu wei, or non-action, which emphasizes acting in harmony with the natural flow rather than forcing outcomes, to the Buddhist teaching of letting go as a path to enlightenment, the idea that effort isn't always the answer has resonated across cultures and eras. The ancient Greeks, too, understood this principle. Heraclitus, a pre-Socratic philosopher, once said, "You cannot step into the same river twice," highlighting the futility of trying to control what is inherently dynamic and ever-changing. In the realm of personal achievement, one need only look at the lives of great leaders and innovators. Consider the story of Steve Jobs, who, after being ousted from Apple in the 1980s, didn't try to fight for his position directly. Instead, he focused on building Next and Pixar, which eventually led him back to Apple with a renewed vision, a lesson in trusting the process rather than forcing a comeback. Similarly, the legendary investor Warren Buffett often speaks of the importance of knowing when to let go, whether it's divesting from a failing company or stepping aside to allow others to shine. The law of reversed effort operates on principles akin to those found in quantum physics, where observation influences reality. When we fixate on forcing outcomes, we risk altering the very environment we're trying to shape. By surrendering control, we align ourselves with the natural order, much like a skilled musician who doesn't overpower their instrument, but instead allows it to resonate in harmony. This concept isn't just about personal growth, it has profound implications for how we structure our societies and organizations. Hierarchical systems, while efficient in the short term, can stifle creativity and innovation when rigid control is exerted. In contrast, decentralized models that encourage autonomy and trust often lead to more resilient and adaptive structures. The agile methodology in project management, which emphasizes flexibility over strict planning, is a modern example of this principle in action. The resistance to surrender stems from a deeply ingrained fear of losing control. This fear isn't without reason. After all, control provides a sense of safety and predictability. However, this comfort comes at the cost of growth and adaptability. Studies in psychology have shown that people who can let go tend to experience lower stress and higher levels of well-being. Trusting the process fosters a mindset where challenges are viewed as opportunities rather than threats. In our relationships, surrendering control can lead to deeper connections. By not trying to mold others into what we expect, we allow for genuine interactions and mutual growth. This doesn't mean abandoning responsibility, but rather approaching situations with empathy and openness, creating space for solutions to emerge organically. Scientific research supports the benefits of mindfulness and surrender. Neuroimaging studies have demonstrated that practices like meditation, which cultivate a non-attached mindset, can alter brain structures associated with stress and emotional regulation. By letting go of the need to control every outcome, we reduce mental strain and create an environment where our goals can naturally arise. In conclusion, surrender isn't about giving up. It's about aligning with the universe's inherent flow. It requires courage to trust that everything you want is already on its way, waiting for you on the other side of letting go. When effort turns into ease and control gives way to collaboration, we unlock our full potential and invite success in ways we might never have imagined. In exploring the concept of surrender and its benefits, it's essential to draw upon historical and cultural wisdom. Eastern philosophies such as Taoism and Buddhism offer profound insights into non-attachment and flowing with life's natural currents. The Tao Te Ching, attributed to Lao Tzu, emphasizes effortless action and harmony with the universe. One of its famous passages states, "The master acts without doing. Things come her way without effort." This underscores the idea that true mastery lies in allowing things to unfold naturally, rather than forcing outcomes. From a psychological perspective, surrender can be seen as a form of mindfulness that reduces anxiety and enhances resilience. Research indicates that individuals who relinquish control over every detail experience lower stress levels and greater well-being. For instance, studies on anxiety disorders highlight the role of cognitive behavioral therapy in helping patients let go of perfectionism and control, thereby alleviating symptoms. Quantum physics introduces intriguing parallels to surrender. Concepts like Heisenberg's uncertainty principle suggest that predicting every outcome is impossible due to inherent uncertainties. Similarly, chaos theory illustrates how small actions can lead to significant effects through the butterfly effect. These principles mirror the idea that by releasing control, we allow life's unpredictability to guide us toward unforeseen but favorable results. Examining historical figures who embody surrender, Mahatma Gandhi's nonviolent resistance exemplifies trusting the process despite relinquishing control over outcomes. His approach was rooted in faith and patience, allowing India's independence movement to evolve organically rather than forcing a predetermined path. In personal development, surrendering control can paradoxically enhance goal achievement. The law of attraction posits that by focusing on desire without attachment to specific outcomes, one attracts their goals more effectively. This mindset aligns with the principle of effortless effort, where intention is set without compulsion, allowing the universe's natural flow to bring results. Integrating mindfulness practices into daily life balances surrender and purpose. Mindfulness meditation helps cultivate a non-attached state, reducing stress while maintaining intentionality. By observing thoughts without judgment, individuals can release mental strain and create space for opportunities to emerge organically. Creativity thrives in an environment of surrender as well. When rigid planning is abandoned, creativity flows more freely, leading to unexpected innovations. This aligns with the idea that by letting go, one taps into a deeper wellspring of inspiration and originality. In conclusion, surrender is a multifaceted concept supported by historical wisdom, psychological research, quantum physics, and real-life examples. By embracing this mindset, individuals unlock their full potential and invite success in harmonious ways, trusting the universe's inherent flow to guide them toward their desires. The myth of certainty and the intelligence of chaos in life, there's an undeniable allure to having everything figured out, to holding on to certainties as if they're the only anchors we can trust. But this pursuit of certainty is more akin to chaining ourselves to a sinking ship than setting sail on the boundless ocean of possibility. The belief that we must have all the answers, that every step must be meticulously planned and controlled, stems from a deep-seated fear, the terror of not knowing, of being vulnerable to life's unpredictable currents. This need for control is, paradoxically, one of the greatest obstacles to our success and fulfillment. It traps us in a mindset where we're constantly trying to force outcomes rather than allowing them to emerge naturally. When we fixate on certainty, we close ourselves off from the very thing that makes life rich and dynamic: chaos. But chaos isn't the enemy. It's the natural state of existence, the fertile ground from which creativity, innovation, and growth arise. To illustrate this, let's look at history. Consider the scientific revolution, when thinkers like Galileo and Newton began to unravel the mysteries of the universe. They didn't do so by trying to impose their will on nature. Instead, they observed, questioned, and allowed themselves to be guided by what they saw. Similarly, Einstein's theory of relativity emerged not from a desire for control, but from a willingness to embrace uncertainty and explore the unknown. But how does this apply to our everyday lives? Just as in physics, the more we try to pin down every variable and ensure every outcome, the less room we leave for the unexpected, those serendipitous moments that often lead to breakthroughs. When we're too attached to a specific plan or outcome, we rigidify our approach, making ourselves inflexible and unable to adapt when things don't go as planned. But why is this so hard? Why do we resist letting go of our need for certainty? It comes down to fear, specifically, the fear of failure and inadequacy. When we don't know what's coming next, when we can't predict every outcome, it feels like we're losing control, and in that perceived loss, we see danger, even when there may be none. This fear often manifests as a scarcity mechanism, convincing us that if we stop pushing so hard, everything will collapse. We believe that without constant effort and vigilance, we'll miss our opportunities or fall into ruin. But this mindset is the opposite of truth. It's what keeps us stuck, unable to swim freely in the stream of life. Let's take a moment to consider the physics of surrender. When you try to grab water with a closed fist, it slips away. But if you open your hand and let it flow over your palm, you can carry it as long as you like. This is how life works. When we resist, we repel. When we accept, we attract. The same principle applies to our goals and desires. When we're desperate for results, when we micromanage every step, we create tension that can suffocate the very thing we're trying to achieve. But when we let go of control, paradoxically, we often find ourselves more aligned with our objectives. It's like planting a seed. You don't dig it up every day to check if it's growing. You water it and trust in the process. Now, think about this on a larger scale. The universe itself operates through these principles. Quantum physics tells us that at the most fundamental level, reality is made up of probabilities, not certainties. Particles don't occupy definite positions until we observe them. They exist in a state of potential until our interference collapses them into form. But how does this apply to our lives? When we accept uncertainty as part of life's fabric, we begin to see that our desires don't have to be tied to specific outcomes. We can want something without being wedded to a particular way it must come to pass. This opens us up to receiving in ways we might never have imagined. It's easy to get caught up in wanting the exact map, the precise steps, the guarantee of success, but doing so limits our potential. By demanding certainty, we lock ourselves into a tiny slice of possibility, blind to the endless other avenues life could take us. Consider the difference between expecting and trusting. Expectation is rigid. It's like building a house on quicksand. Trust, on the other hand, is fluid. It allows for movement and adaptation. When we trust the process, rather than fixating on outcomes, we create space for opportunities to arise that our fearful minds couldn't have conceived. This doesn't mean abandoning our goals or passions. It means holding them with a different kind of grip, one that's open rather than tight, flexible rather than rigid. It's about wanting something so much that you're willing to let go of how it must happen, allowing the universe to deliver it in its own perfect timing. But this shift isn't easy. It requires us to face our deepest fears and doubts, to surrender the illusion that we can control everything. And yet, when we make this leap, something extraordinary happens. We stop struggling against life, and life starts working for us. In closing, remember this: the universe is far more intelligent than any of us. By letting go of the need to micromanage every aspect of our lives, we tap into a wisdom greater than our own. We open ourselves to receiving in ways that are beyond our current understanding, allowing success and fulfillment to flow naturally, without effort, without fear. So next time you find yourself clinging to certainty, take a deep breath and consider, what would happen if you released your grip? What possibilities might emerge if you trusted the process instead of trying to control every step? The answer might just surprise you. For centuries, humanity has grappled with the tension between control and surrender. Ancient philosophies like Taoism and Stoicism offer insights into this timeless struggle. The Tao Te Ching, for instance, teaches that forcing outcomes often leads to imbalance, while aligning with the natural flow of life yields greater results. Similarly, Marcus Aurelius, a Roman emperor and philosopher, advised against worrying about events beyond our control, a principle now known as the Fourfold Path in Stoicism. The scientific community has since validated these ancient wisdoms through chaos theory and complexity science. These fields reveal that many systems, whether ecological, economic, or biological, operate far from equilibrium. Small interventions can lead to disproportionately large effects, a phenomenon known as sensitive dependence on initial conditions. This butterfly effect, popularized by meteorologist Edward Lorenz, illustrates how even minor changes can ripple through complex systems. In nature, we see countless examples of this intelligence. Each coral polyp acts independently, yet together they create intricate structures that support diverse marine life. Similarly, the human immune system operates without a central command. Individual cells respond to threats autonomously, coordinating into a robust defense mechanism. The business world offers practical lessons in surrendering control. Consider the success of Toyota's lean manufacturing methodology. Instead of tightly controlling every step, Toyota empowers its employees to identify inefficiencies and innovate on the ground level. This decentralized approach has made Toyota one of the most resilient and adaptive companies globally. Neuroscience sheds light on why letting go is so challenging. The brain's limbic system, responsible for emotions and survival instincts, drives our desire for control. Fear of uncertainty activates the amygdala, triggering a fight-or-flight response even when no immediate threat exists. This neuroticism can lead to chronic stress and anxiety if left unchecked. The concept of flow, introduced by psychologist Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi, further illuminates this paradox. Flow occurs when we surrender to the task at hand, losing self-consciousness in pursuit of mastery. Athletes in peak performance often describe being in the zone, a state where effort fades as action aligns with opportunity. In modern management theory, this principle is echoed through concepts like servant leadership and agile methodologies. Servant leaders focus on empowering teams rather than dictating every move. Agile frameworks embrace iterative progress over rigid planning, fostering adaptability in dynamic environments. The paradox of control is further evident in the concept of, the more you try to hold on to something, the faster it slips away. This is not just a metaphor, but a psychological reality. Research shows that attempting to suppress negative thoughts often intensifies them, a phenomenon known as the rebound effect. Conversely, acceptance and mindfulness practices have been shown to reduce anxiety and improve well-being. Historically, many successful individuals and organizations thrived not by meticulous planning, but by embracing serendipity. The invention of penicillin by Alexander Fleming occurred when he noticed mold had killed bacteria in a petri dish he'd left out. This accidental discovery highlights how opportunities often emerge when we step back and observe rather than force outcomes. In the realm of personal relationships, Trying to control others typically leads to conflict. Healthy relationships flourish when partners trust each other enough to give and take autonomy. This dynamic mirrors the ecosystems where biodiversity thrives in mutualistic relationships, not hierarchical domination. The rise of artificial intelligence offers another angle. While AI can process data with unprecedented speed, it's human creativity and adaptability that drive innovation. By letting go of the need for perfection and embracing experimentation, we create space for groundbreaking ideas to emerge spontaneously. In conclusion, surrendering control is not about resignation, but radical trust in a larger, intelligent whole. It's about recognizing our role as stewards rather than controllers, fostering environments where life can flourish in its own way. By doing so, we unlock our true potential and align with the natural wisdom that flows through all of existence. When you're navigating uncharted waters, the art of fluid action becomes your compass. It's about understanding the difference between paddling harder and surrendering to the current, between forcing progress and letting go to move forward. Imagine this: you're on a boat, trying to reach a distant shore. If you grip the oars too tightly, row with desperation, you'll exhaust yourself, create tension, and risk capsizing. But if you loosen your grip, feel the rhythm of the water, and adjust your strokes as needed, you glide effortlessly toward your destination, moving with intention yet without force, adapting to the flow rather than fighting against it. It's not about passivity, it's about precision and timing, like a surfer catching a wave. The moment you try to control every aspect, every movement, every outcome, you lose the harmony of the process. You become rigid, stuck in your own way. Forced traction is the opposite. It's the illusion of progress through sheer effort, without surrendering to the natural ebb and flow. It's like trying to push a boulder up a hill with brute strength, ignoring the subtle shifts in terrain, or the changing angle of sunlight that might offer new perspective. When you're stuck in this mode, every step feels like a battle, and the harder you try, the deeper you dig yourself into exhaustion. But here's the thing: true traction doesn't come from sheer force. It comes from alignment, your efforts in harmony with the right timing, the right environment, and the right opportunities. Think of it as planting seeds. You don't yank them out of the ground to check their roots every day. You water them, give them sunlight, and trust that they'll grow in their own time. Desperation is a telltale sign of forced traction. It's when you're so focused on the outcome that you lose sight of the process. You become a hamster on a wheel, running faster and faster, but going nowhere. This is where fluid action becomes crucial. It's about staying detached from the result, while fully committed to your craft. Let's consider the metaphor of a river. If you're in a boat, you can either paddle furiously upstream against the current, or find a path that flows with it. The first approach will leave you breathless and frustrated. The second will carry you effortlessly toward your goal. This isn't about giving up. It's about using the river's energy to your advantage. The same principle applies to relationships, careers, and creative projects. When you're too attached to a specific outcome, too desperate for success, you create tension that repels opportunities. People sense your neediness and withdraw, and opportunities fluid away like water through fingers. But when you detach from the result, paradoxically, you open yourself up to greater possibilities. You stop trying to force others or situations to bend to your will. Instead, you trust in the process and let things unfold naturally. This is fluid action at its finest: effort without tension, commitment without compulsion. Imagine a tree in the wind. It doesn't resist the movement, it sways gracefully, allowing itself to bend without breaking. This is surrender, not giving up but yielding to the forces at play, so you can move with them rather than against them. In this dance between effort and surrender, fluid action becomes your ally. It's about finding that sweet spot where intention meets ease, where you're fully engaged in the process without being consumed by it. This is how you cultivate magnetism, by acting with purpose, yet staying detached from the outcome. The key is to stay present, fully engaged in each moment, but not tied to a specific future. When you do this, you'll find that your actions have a gravitational pull of their own, drawing opportunities and connections naturally toward you. So fluid action isn't about being passive or wishy-washy. It's about having the wisdom to know when to push and when to let go, to paddle with the current instead of against it. This is where true progress lies, in the balance between effort and surrender, between control and trust. And remember, every great river has its bends and curves. The journey isn't straight, it's meandering and organic. Embrace this fluidity, and you'll find that your path becomes clearer, more aligned with the natural flow of life. The concept of fluid action has deep roots in various cultures and philosophies throughout history. One such philosophy is Taoism, which emphasizes the principle of wu-wei, often translated as effortless action or non-forcing. This idea suggests that by aligning with the natural flow of the universe, one can achieve their goals without unnecessary struggle. The ancient Chinese text Tao Te Ching illustrates this through the metaphor of water. Nothing in the world is softer than water, yet it can penetrate the hardest and strongest. Its strength is because it yields. In medieval Europe, similar ideas were echoed in the works of thinkers like St. Augustine, who spoke about surrendering to God's will and trusting in divine timing. This perspective advised against forcing outcomes, but instead focusing on living virtuously and allowing life to unfold as intended by a higher power. During the Renaissance, the concept of fluid action found expression in the arts through the idea of genius and inspiration. Artists like Michelangelo believed that their best work came not from deliberate effort but from aligning with a divine or natural creative force. This mindset allowed them to channel creativity effortlessly, producing masterpieces that continue to inspire today. In more recent times, psychological research has begun to validate the benefits of fluid action. Studies have shown that surrendering control and embracing uncertainty can reduce stress and anxiety. A 2018 study published in Psychological Science found that individuals who adopted a more flexible approach to achieving their goals experienced lower levels of burnout and higher overall well-being. This adaptability is not just a feel-good concept, it has practical applications across industries. For instance, in the business world, companies like Google have incorporated fluid action principles into their corporate culture by fostering an environment where employees are encouraged to experiment and adapt rather than rigidly adhere to plans. This approach has contributed to Google's sustained innovation and growth. In creative fields, surrendering control can lead to unexpected breakthroughs. Many renowned authors and musicians attribute their best work to moments of inspiration that arose from letting go of preconceived ideas. Composer Ludwig van Beethoven, for example, allowed his emotions to flow freely in his later works, creating masterpieces like the Moonlight Sonata that transcended traditional structures. The implications of fluid action extend beyond personal success into broader societal benefits. By embracing this approach, individuals and communities can foster resilience and adaptability, which are crucial in addressing global challenges such as climate change and social inequality. These issues require innovative solutions that emerge from a dynamic interplay between intention and surrender. One lesser-known aspect of fluid action is its role in fostering creativity. When we release the need to control every outcome, we create space for new ideas and perspectives to emerge. This openness is particularly valuable in collaborative environments, where diverse viewpoints can lead to groundbreaking innovations. In conclusion, fluid action offers a powerful framework for navigating life's challenges with grace and effectiveness. By drawing from historical wisdom and modern research, we can see that surrendering control and trusting the process often leads to greater success than forcing outcomes. This approach not only enhances our well-being, but also opens doors to new possibilities, allowing us to move through life with the same effortless power as a river carving its path through rock. Continuing our exploration into the profound concept of fluid action, we turn to historical figures who exemplified this principle beyond Beethoven. Consider Galileo, whose willingness to let go of rigid beliefs led to groundbreaking discoveries in astronomy. By surrendering his initial notions of an Earth-centered universe, he opened himself to the truths revealed by celestial observations, ultimately challenging the established order and laying the groundwork for modern science. In the realm of business and leadership, companies that embrace fluid action often demonstrate remarkable resilience. A notable example is Google's transition to Alphabet Inc., where the creation of semi-autonomous subsidiaries allowed for greater innovation and adaptability. This restructure mirrored fluid action by decentralizing control, enabling each entity to evolve according to its unique potential while maintaining a cohesive strategic direction. Psychological research underscores the benefits of surrendering control. Studies show that individuals who let go of rigid outcomes experience reduced stress and enhanced creativity. Csikszentmihalyi's concept of flow states highlights how fluid action fosters peak performance, where focus aligns seamlessly with the task at hand, leading to optimal outcomes. However, it's essential to balance fluid action with responsibility. In emergency situations, decisive leadership is crucial. Yet, even here, fluidity can be applied by allowing strategies to adapt as circumstances evolve, ensuring a dynamic response that remains grounded in core values and objectives. Lesser-known traditions such as certain Buddhist practices and Taoist philosophy emphasize surrendering control. The Tao Te Ching advocates for effortless action, aligning with the natural flow of life. This wisdom suggests that by relinquishing forced intentions, one can achieve harmony and effectiveness in their actions. Case studies illustrate how organizations benefit from fluid approaches. A company undergoing a leadership change might adopt fluid structures to encourage innovation and adaptability, fostering an environment where employees feel empowered to contribute ideas without fear of judgment. The emotional benefits of fluid action are significant. By letting go of anxiety about outcomes, individuals experience reduced stress and improved well-being. This mindfulness practice aligns with acceptance, where one observes circumstances without resistance, leading to inner peace and clarity in decision-making. In relationships, surrendering control enhances communication and fosters harmony. When partners allow space for each other's independence, they build stronger connections based on mutual respect and understanding, rather than clinging to predefined roles or outcomes. As we navigate life's complexities, embracing fluid action allows us to flow through challenges with grace. By drawing from historical wisdom, psychological insights, and philosophical teachings, we recognize that letting go is not about relinquishing control, but trusting the natural ebb and flow of life. This approach not only enriches our personal lives, but also contributes to a more adaptable and resilient society. Let's consider what it means to transform your identity towards stillness. It's not about erasing who you are or stripping away layers of yourself. It's about shedding the tension, the grasping, and the desperate need that often define how we engage with life. Your exterior reflects the state of your internal world. When you're tense, when you're clinging to outcomes, people can sense it. Opportunities may pass you by, not because they don't exist, but because you're radiating an energy of lack. Think about it this way. If you're someone who constantly pushes for results, micromanages every detail, and measures success by how much you control the outcome, your energy becomes heavy with need. Others might sense that need and instinctively pull away. They don't want to be tied to someone who is suffocating under the weight of their own expectations. But what if you could shift that? What if instead of projecting desperation, you cultivated an inner quietness, a stillness that says, "I trust in the process. I've done my part, and now I let go." That's not passivity, it's freedom. It's the difference between someone who is rigidly trying to force a river to flow in their desired direction and someone who has learned to navigate the current. Stillness isn't about stopping action. It's about aligning your actions with your inner truth, without being driven by fear or urgency. It's about understanding that success isn't something you beg for, it's something you allow. You stop positioning yourself as someone who is begging for things to happen, and start seeing yourself as someone who allows them to unfold naturally. This shift in identity is profound. When you let go of the need to control, your energy becomes magnetic. People and opportunities are drawn to you, not because you're chasing them, but because you radiate a quiet confidence and inner stability. You become someone who embodies trust, not just in yourself, but in life's natural flow. But how do you make this transformation? It starts with small steps. Begin by observing your thoughts and patterns. Notice when you're gripping too tightly, when you're trying to force outcomes. Then, gently release them. Surrender the need to know when things will happen or how they will unfold. Instead, focus on the present moment and the actions you can take today. Stillness isn't something you achieve overnight. It's a practice, a lifelong commitment to letting go, trusting, and flowing with life's rhythm. As you embrace this stillness, your identity begins to shift. You stop defining yourself by your achievements or failures, your successes or setbacks. Instead, you define yourself by your inner peace, your resilience in the face of uncertainty, and your ability to remain unaltered even when results are delayed. In this process, you will realize that true success isn't about external validation or achieving a certain outcome. It's about the quiet strength it takes to stay still in the middle of life's storm. It's about trusting that everything you want is already on its way, not because you forced it, but because you've allowed yourself to let go and trust. So if you're ready to transform your identity towards stillness, start by releasing the tension. Let go of the need to control every outcome, stop chasing validation, and begin to embrace the quiet power of surrender. When you do, you'll find that success isn't something you do. It's something that naturally flows towards you when you're no longer blocking its path. And in this stillness, you'll find your true self, not the version of yourself who is desperate for approval or obsessed with results, but the one who embodies peace, trust, and unshakable confidence. That's the identity shift we're all capable of when we let go and allow life to guide us toward our best selves. Stillness, as a practice, isn't confined to modern times. It has deep roots in various cultures and philosophies. In Taoism, the concept of Wu Wei, or effortless action, emphasizes the importance of non-forcing and going with the flow. Laozi, the founder of Taoism, taught that by aligning oneself with the Tao, one can achieve harmony without struggle. This principle underscores the idea that stillness isn't about inaction, but about moving in harmony with life's natural rhythm. Buddhism also offers profound insights into stillness through mindfulness practices. The act of being present, as taught by the Buddha, allows individuals to observe their thoughts and emotions without attachment. This observation leads to a state of calm and clarity, transforming one's identity from reactive to reflective. In Stoicism, the ancient Greek philosophy teaches that true peace comes from focusing on what is within our control and accepting what isn't. This perspective encourages stillness by detaching from external events, fostering inner resilience. From a psychological standpoint, surrendering control can lead to significant shifts in self-perception. By letting go of the need for validation, individuals often experience reduced anxiety and increased self-esteem. Studies suggest that mindfulness practices can alter neural pathways, enhancing emotional regulation and promoting stillness. Embracing stillness involves practical steps, such as meditation and journaling. These techniques help quiet the mind, allowing for a clearer understanding of one's true self beyond societal expectations. Setting intentions aligned with stillness, like daily moments of reflection, can reinforce this transformative journey. Historical figures like Gandhi exemplify the power of surrender through their lives. Gandhi's commitment to nonviolent resistance was rooted in inner peace and trust in the universe, demonstrating how stillness can inspire profound change. In modern times, individuals who have transformed their identities through surrender often report improved relationships and career satisfaction, as they align more closely with their true values rather than external success metrics. Overcoming challenges on this path involves patience and self-compassion, recognizing that transformation is gradual and embracing each step without judgment can alleviate frustration. Techniques like gratitude practices and accepting failures as part of growth aid in maintaining stillness amidst life's storms. In conclusion, transforming one's identity towards stillness is a journey that draws from timeless wisdom and modern psychological insights. By embracing surrender and mindfulness, individuals unlock inner peace and resilience, leading to a more authentic and fulfilling life. As we delve deeper into the concept of transforming identity towards stillness, it's essential to explore how mindfulness practices not only alter neural pathways, but also reshape our perception of self and world. The journey towards stillness is not merely about quieting the mind. It's about understanding the intricate dance between external stimuli and internal responses. This transformation is a profound shift from identifying with fleeting emotions and thoughts to recognizing the ever-present, unchanging consciousness that underlies all experiences. Historically, figures like Buddha have exemplified this journey through their teachings on mindfulness and non-attachment. Buddha's path involved not just moments of stillness, but a continuous cultivation of awareness, leading to enlightenment. Similarly, in medieval Europe, mystics such as Meister Eckhart emphasized the importance of stilling the mind to connect with divine essence. These historical contexts illustrate that the pursuit of stillness is a universal human endeavor, transcending cultural and temporal boundaries. In modern times, individuals from various walks of life have discovered that embracing stillness leads to unexpected growth. A CEO might find renewed purpose after adopting mindfulness practices, while an artist might experience a surge in creativity through daily meditation. These transformations often involve redefining success away from external metrics like wealth or status and toward internal fulfillment. Psychologically, the implications of stillness are profound. Research indicates that regular mindfulness practice can increase gray matter density in brain regions associated with learning, memory, and emotional regulation. This neuroplasticity not only enhances cognitive functions, but also fosters resilience against stress and anxiety. Moreover, stillness practices can harmonize the autonomic nervous system, leading to better physical health and vitality. The societal implications of widespread stillness are equally significant. Imagine communities where individuals are attuned to their inner worlds, fostering empathy and understanding. This collective stillness could lead to a more compassionate society, reducing conflict and enhancing cooperation. It's a vision that aligns with the growing global interest in mindfulness as a tool for social change. Lesser-known details reveal that many indigenous cultures have long revered stillness as a means of connecting with nature and the divine. For instance, Native American traditions often include rituals of silence and meditation to honor the spirit world. These practices remind us that stillness is not just an individual pursuit, but a way to harmonize with the broader universe. Ultimately, transforming identity towards stillness is a journey that merges ancient wisdom with contemporary insights. It challenges us to move beyond superficial identities shaped by societal expectations and reconnect with our true selves. This transformation is not about escaping life's demands, but embracing them with a calm and steady mind, leading to a more authentic and fulfilling existence.